You're listening to Life on Hifi, the podcast, and I'm your host, Dominic Justina. Welcome to Life on Hifi. Again, this is Dominic Justina here, and I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a very interesting process just because I was not trained in audio, but you know what? Here we go. Bear with me if it sounds a bit rough around the edges. I am learning everything on my own, kind of pacing myself. Today, we'll be talking about transitions. Very relevant right now because I am currently going through one, just graduated this summer of 2018 and transitioning into the quote-unquote real world. So join me as I talk with Kofi Frempong, a Toronto-based artist, about his journey and how his successes have naturally fallen into place. We explore business and art, which is a very unlikely but powerful combination. And we talk about some advice for those of us just embarking a new journey. We also talk about enjoying the process and how to keep going with or without a mentor. So without further ado, let's dive in. Kofi is a Toronto-based artist that creates emotional and captivating paintings on Black men and women and Black love. He's been featured in the Hifi magazine. Am I pronouncing that right, Kofi?
Yes, correct.
Hifi?
Hifi.
Hifi. He's done several live painting events. He actually had his first solo art exhibit this year called The Why, and most recently curated for Afro Chic in Toronto. There is actually so much going on. I'm trying to keep up with you. Is that everything? Is there anything else that's on that list?
I'm also the founder of Freedom Fridays.
Is that a repeating event?
Yes, it's basically a platform for artists from primarily Jane and Finch, but Toronto as a whole, to showcase and celebrate with community their talents. Yeah, so when you come to Freedom Fridays, like you'll see live art, you'll see performances, and we serve food to the community, and just like random community engagement activities.
Oh, cool. It kind of reminds me of, so we actually crossed paths last year. It's been a year now. It's crazy.
I know.
It was a live painting event, right?
Yes.
There was juice, there was a DJ, people were chilling, and there you were in the middle of it, live painting. And I just remember how like down to earth you were when we connected. And I mean, since then, I'm seeing where you've really been making an impact. I follow you closely on Instagram. And I would say I'm very curious to know what your journey has been like. So how did all of this start?
It started, well, first of all, I started doing art from when I was 5 years old. We were in a hotel in Paris, and I was just watching my dad doodle. He was doodling Egyptian characters. And instantly, I just fell in love. I just thought his line work was the most amazing thing ever. So what I did is I started drawing myself, realizing that it didn't really compare to his work. I just started tracing, and not knowing that by tracing, I was really developing the muscle memories that was required to create, really good shapes and line work. Over the years, I became really good at drawing, but never really got into painting, only because I felt like my paintings wouldn't compare to my drawings. So there was a lot of anxiety around that. High school, almost failed out of art class.
That's actually crazy to me because you're known for painting now. When I met you, you were painting.
I know.
Yeah, and to me, it's like you're so gifted in this area. How did you manage to shake the fear and the anxiety that came with painting?
It's so crazy because I ended up taking about 6, maybe 7 years off of art.
Wow.
Yeah, just like the transitions of life. I ended up getting into my career as a community health worker. and just being really active in the community that took away a lot of time. Um, Supporting my wife through school and just, trying to figure out where her passion was, um, buying my first home, uh, and then finally having our first child. Like a lot of it just required a lot of time that I didn't really dedicate to working on my craft. And I guess my creativity came out in different ways. So one of the ways that it came out was Freedom Fridays.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk about that later, but
We will.
yeah. So after 6, 7 years, my wife came to me and said that she found her passion, and that was to be a midwife. Um, I'm not sure if you're aware, but that is a really competitive program to get into.
Right, yes.
She ended up applying at Ryerson, and she got in. And the day that she told me she got in, I literally, like that same day, I literally drew my first picture in like
Years.
6, 7 years. I posted it on Instagram, and I got so much love from it. But, at that point, it was like, oh, this is cool. Like a lot of people are still, loving my artwork, and I still have it. Going back to Freedom Friday, part of the messaging around that is, to be able to get out of your comfort zone so that you can grow. And, I thought it'd be really hypocritical of me to do this event that was bringing out, nearly 200 people a month and getting them to get out of their comfort zone when I couldn't do that myself. So one day when we had an attendance of, I believe, a little bit over 500 people, I did my first live painting in front of that crowd.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so nerve-wracking. Like the first 5, 10 minutes was so nerve-wracking.
Your first go and you did it in front of 500 people.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Like it was at that point that I developed my just the way I paint, my process. And like I was so nervous, and then at some point I just let go and said to myself, it really doesn't matter if I create a masterpiece or not. It doesn't matter who likes it. As long as I'm enjoying the process, that's all that matters. And from there, like every time I paint, that's pretty much my process. And, luckily, I feel like my paintings come out pretty good.
That's an understatement.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds to me like it took your partner's success to really trigger that spark that got you to go back to your art.
Absolutely, because everything comes full circle. I want to be in a position where it's like I pursued this and I was successful. Now I've created a legacy for my kids. I always like to preach to my daughters, like to try new things, to practice your craft, to go after your passion. And what better way to teach that than to actually model it?
Right, to live in your truth.
Exactly.
I kind of want to go back on basically the moment when you were painting in front of 500 people for the very first time. And of course, you explained this is something that you were always anxious about, scared of judgment.
Yes.
Am I right? Like just people judging you and not like your work not being good enough. What kind of mindset were you in?
Going in, I was like, oh man, I hope I don't mess this up. So many people are watching. What do I do? Where do I start? All of that started to come into my mind. And then the moment I just let go of all of that and just like got into the moment and just, the process, I just felt like a huge burden off my shoulders.
There was almost a spiritual shift inside of you where you developed a confidence to just let go.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is definitely really cool to me. And I don't think it's something that happens unless you set your mind to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I wanted to ask you too was Investing time, first of all, in what we love can be really hard. It definitely takes discipline to create something that, like what you've established. What are some of the sacrifices or commitments that you've had to make to achieve what you have so far?
Unfortunately, sleep.
Yeah.
I'm still a full-time community health worker. Um, I'm still a father, husband. So, just juggling all of those responsibilities and then finding time not only to paint, but to manage my own business. That's been, I guess, the most challenging part is just like the time that I allocate to all of that. Yeah.
And hearing you say this, being a father, a husband, a full-time community health worker, like just hearing you say this, I feel like there is almost no excuse for me or for anybody just starting out, because we don't, most of us, many of us don't have all of those commitments. So how do you balance and juggle all of those things?
Um, okay, so for the longest time, I guess our parents and pretty much everybody who's an entrepreneur and in business, they've been preaching um, working hard. And while that's definitely necessary, I find that it's more important to work smart,
I agree. I
right?
agree.
It just eliminates a lot of the extra work and creates more time for you to be able to concentrate on as many different things as possible. I just changed my mindset and made it fun. So it became a game slash challenge where I was acquiring key information and it didn't seem tedious at any point.
And that's something I'm really exploring with, the
Hmm.
idea of enjoying the process.
Exactly. I really don't think that we were put on here to work. You know what I mean? And like there's so much more to life than just, working and then sleeping, waking up and repeating certain cycles. Like not to get off topic, I guess fitting in the theme of my artwork, I really do believe that we were meant to love. And my definition of love is to promote life and growth in people and everything that we do. And sometimes it's really hard to live in that fully when you're following, the same routine.
Yeah. So it's kind of like when you're in your flow, you're able to connect with what you're doing more and operate from a place of love. But when you are kind of set in a, this is how I have to do it, this is how I have to get it, you kind of lose that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's now 5 years into your art career. At what point did it transform from, okay, this is a passion, this is something I love, to, yes, this is my business?
After the first year of getting back into it, I realized that it's definitely something that I wanted to pursue as a career. I had a 3-year plan, and everything on that list was pretty much achieved within the second year of me starting. So then I just had to like reevaluate that plan and think bigger. But yeah, so like different things like in addition to seeing how great an artist my dad was, even though if you ask him, he will tell you that he's not an artist. um, he was also really good in business. He started 5 businesses before he finally found the one that actually hit. And growing up, just to witness his business mind and the way he would learn from his failed businesses and just keep going, it almost became, I guess, second nature to me. So now, like the way I run my business, it's a bit unorthodox, but again, it's kind of like I've developed some muscle memory in regards to certain things that I do. they're almost like subconscious now.
As I think about where my next steps are, I definitely know I want to create my own thing. And this podcasting venture is actually one of I say it's my hobby now, but it's actually a passion of mine to connect with people. And I do it in my day to day. So I figured, hey, why not just, record and just like put it out there, whatever I get from these conversations. Because conversations like this really feed me. And whatever I may get, maybe there's someone out there who might get the same from it. And that would actually be really, really fulfilling for me just to like help someone else. But I struggle with the idea of like passion and art and creativity and like monetizing that.
Mm-hmm.
So business and art to me is a really fire combination, and you have both. So what advice would you have in terms of putting a plan? Because, art is like, it's very idealistic or in your head, not the most practical sometimes when you're just juggling with ideas, very abstract. How do you make things concrete in terms of creating a business out of it?
Creating a business out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's there's a lot. I guess to boil it down to a few simple points, there's different categories you got to look at. Connecting with your audience / fan base and just getting that level of understanding to communicate who you are. Definitely having some sort of organization skills, because as business, gets bigger, it's really important to stay on top of things.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that goes back to the people who are supporting you. It allows you to be more reliable and just stay on top of your craft.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that I know that have really good business ideas or good business practice, but just certain things that they do that push clients or buyers away. There's so much. Why I'm struggling with this answer is I feel like I'm literally just like living and things are just falling into place. I didn't quite have a mentor when I started my business or my art. It was just like things that I had a knack for. And also, I made a commitment to be genuine, transparent with people, but also to honor my own passion. So if there's something that I'm not willing to do, I definitely won't do it. If my business requires for me to lie to people or manipulate people, then I just won't. I'll sacrifice the money if that's what I feel like I need to do to get the money.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's proven to be very successful, because when it comes to business, I believe that the best way to grow your business is to be good to people. And once people feel like you're being good to them, I mean, of course, in addition to providing a good product, you can't get away from that. But providing a good product and also being good to people and creating experience is so key.
Well, I mean, it sounds to me like, and I have some experience with this, when you're really, how do I say this? When you're really doing something that you're meant to, it's not a matter of how, like not worrying about the how so much. It's just knowing what you want to put out there, and then things just kind of fall into place once you're in that groove and once you're being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
I see where everything is definitely coming together on my end again. Like, you're just doing so much, it's hard to even keep up. But has there been any point on your journey where doors were closing and you felt like giving up, or you felt discouraged?
I place all my energy on what's working for me and what's working well, where my supports are getting. So if I'm getting 10 people supporting me, I'm definitely going to focus my energy in that direction and figure out how to build on that.
basically what you're saying right now is things I've been thinking about over this past week. I mean, even recently, a door was closed for me. A few doors were closed for me. And I was saying to myself, I can either fall into a state of sadness, depression, feel sorry for myself, or I can just look at this as a door closing and just a shift towards where I need to be. And also what you were saying about energy reminded me a lot about the law of attraction. So even if we're not thinking positively about something, just thinking about it will attract it to us. So an artist, you're saying, thinking about support that they're not getting is kind of focusing their energy on that and building energy and attracting that kind of that around them, right? And instead of thinking about what they are getting and building that vibration and multiplying it, they're kind of missing out, losing out by focusing on what they don't have. So that's very interesting to note.
Yeah, I believe that.
But getting frustrated is human, it's normal. So definitely like kind of explain to me when something happens that isn't necessarily as encouraging, how do you pick yourself out of that self-loathing, right? And kind of use that as a way to propel you towards where you need to be. Is there anything that you consciously do?
Oh, okay. Yeah, before I answer that though, I just want to definitely put it out there that a lot of those disappointments are definitely real. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that those frustrations and those disappointments are overreactions. When you work hard and you believe that there's a level of support or give back that you should be receiving, and you don't receive it, it's definitely frustrating. So I'll definitely acknowledge that. And in no way will I ever take away from, I guess, the impact on somebody, when that happens. But for me, I guess how I handle that stuff, it's more out of survival than anything. Because I know myself, I can't function well when I'm feeling sorry for myself, when I'm angry, when I'm sad. So automatically when something goes wrong, my brain, there's a switch to figure out another opportunity or a solution to work out this problem, or just, to get stronger and better.
Survival. That's interesting. So that's kind of like you saying it's automatic.
Yes.
You don't even have to overthink it. It just automatically is a switch that happens. Like, okay,
yes,
this happened. How do I get back up?
It's more like I'm afraid.
Oh.
I can't function when I'm focusing on, a lot of the negatives. Something will happen and then right away I'm thinking about solutions or how to grow from it or how to take it to the next level. Some people might actually say that that's unhealthy.
Really?
Because sometimes, what I've heard is sometimes it's good to actually go through it so that you can, it builds character, it allows you to properly heal.
I mean, I would agree actually with both sides. I think it's good to be able to sit if something negative happens, to sit in the feeling.
And it gives you an opportunity to understand yourself even more.
Yeah. Whether it's being disappointed, being sad, being scared. You don't want to be in that space forever. I don't think any of us would want to be in that space forever. So it's just like, this is how I'm feeling. How do I improve from here?
Exactly. Do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Take some time off if you need to. But when all is said and done, you got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. There is beauty in the process. And process doesn't have to be perfect. There is beauty in the imperfections, the swerves, the turns, the redirections. There is beauty in all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what I really like about you is that you have a really generous nature. Actually, when I first met you, you inspired me to start my own Instagram page because I told you I painted and you asked for at least one picture and I told you I didn't have any.
Yes.
And I like from that conversation, I came back feeling like, okay, let me at least start an Instagram page and put all my pictures together. And I even shared that with a friend of mine who also paints, and she now has her page. So it's kind
Wow.
of, yeah, that's the impact you've had.
Okay, send me
Um,
that. Send me the handle. I'd love to take a look.
I will. I've realized that you like to give back. What inspires you to do that and to engage with your community?
Uh, I really feel like it's part of my art practice. It's part of the way I live my life. It's how I grew up, just watching my parents, both my dad and my mom. It's basically how I love. And again, the way I look at love, it's not this exclusive thing that
It
you
all
give.
comes back to love, right?
Yeah, like, promoting growth, promoting life. I believe that when you encourage people to step outside of their comfort zone, when you encourage people to find their art, that's a way of showing love. That's a way of,
Mm-hmm.
um, promoting health and growth.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you agree, but like the process of creating art is so therapeutic and so healing.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you can inspire or motivate somebody to start creating, in a sense, like you're promoting life for that person.
Yeah, I completely agree. And and you said health, and my definition of health, I think you may agree, is way more than just the biology, the stuff we're made of, the cells we're made of. Health is also our mental well-being. And so art definitely taps into that balance within our bodies to keep us in a space where we're functioning at our highest capacity. I think that's like when we achieve the maximum health. And that can only happen based on like what you've been doing, which is like operating through love. I think as humans, we forget that a lot of the times, and we get caught up with just like competition, comparing ourselves with others, envy maybe, or prioritizing money or the economy and stuff like that. So like love just brings it all back to our essence, to our core.
Absolutely.
We've said a lot. I think the next thing I wanted to ask you was, and you've already been doing this a lot actually. Do you have some advice for youngings like myself who are at the beginning of our journey? So like thinking back to when you were just starting out.
Um, First, I would say, above all, enjoy the process. So do it and enjoy the process. Setbacks are definitely going to come your way, but they're expected. So don't let that stop you. Um, yeah, like doing it from a genuine place is so key. Um, Understand that, like, in anything that you create, even if you're doing a podcast, to me, that's still art. You know what I mean? So seeing that as a way to heal yourself, but also heal other people. Um, to me, it's a divine responsibility. So when you look at it from that perspective, it makes it a lot easier to keep going, continue to learn, um, and build community. Because you may not have a mentor to guide you through this, but that won't stop you from learning vicariously through other people. And it's one of the best ways to learn vicariously through other people is just to be very humble in how you approach people. To understand that no matter how successful that you get, you could always learn from somebody. So to me, those are like some of the key points.
Thank you.
No problem. I could go on for days about, different mistakes that I've made, but yeah, keep going, keep learning, and understand that, we all have a purpose. And if you're living through your purpose, then you know, you just got to keep going while you're alive.
Wow, I love that. And definitely the point about being able to exist in a space of humility and to live vicariously through people and realize that there's a lot you can learn no matter what point of success that we're at. And I mean, I'm always very, very grateful for the people around me who have come up and helped to support me, because I guess similarly to you, I think that, you know, we weren't put on this earth just to slave, you know, just to work. We were actually put to impact and to have we hold unique responsibilities. And our contributions are unique. So I kind of look at life that way. But definitely what you've said helped to bring some clarity and some comfort to how I'm feeling now with this journey, this transitioning phase that I'm in. If you enjoyed that conversation, please go to iTunes and subscribe to Life on Hi-Fi. You can follow this podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Life on Hi-Fi. And you're probably wondering what Kofi's artwork looks like. Well, you can find him on Instagram at KOFIS_art. And he also has a Facebook page going called Friends Who Like Kofi's Art. And that's about it for this episode. Thank you again for tuning in. And I really need to find a creative way to sign off. But until then, stay Gucci, stay fly, and stay creating.